Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news, and Xbox has officially revealed the lineup for the first month of 2021. Yeah, they also paired that reveal with a new gameplay trailer for an upcoming Xbox Game Pass and Series X exclusive. It's looking really good, and we got an overall nice list of games to look forward to for the month of January. We'll take a look at that, and also, Nintendo made a big move today. They're now joining in on the acquisition fund by securing a major studio. From the sounds of it, this is excellent news for Nintendo fans, and I'll explain why here in just a bit. As always though, I cover the entire game industry, so let's get right into the news. So Xbox Game Pass was not the only subscription service to reveal their January games today, as PlayStation Now also revealed their upcoming lineup. So let's take a look at what they have in store for gamers. The Crew 2, Frostpunk, and Surviving Mars will all be available on PlayStation Now this month. That's a pretty decent list. Frostpunk in specific is a fantastic game and definitely worth checking out. If you like strategy sims at all, there really isn't much better than Frostpunk, so that's a great addition to PlayStation Now. Surviving Mars is a solid game as well, and then The Crew 2 it's okay. I'm not going to say it's the best racing game ever, but if you have PlayStation Now, it might be worth a look if you like racing games. The Crew 2 will only be available until July 5th. Either way, this is an overall decent lineup. Frostpunk really is the one that stands out the most. That truly is a great game, and I've said this before, but I really do like how Sony is improving PlayStation Now overall. They've certainly made it a lot better over the last year or so, and I hope they continue to make more progress there. I would still like to see some further improvements, such as adding new games day and date, but to be fair, their PlayStation Plus monthly free games have been very good as of recent. They have been releasing new games day and date on PlayStation Plus, such as Bugsnax, Worm Rumble, and the upcoming Destruction All-Stars in February. They also have the PlayStation Plus collection, where you can download several first-party PlayStation games, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Honestly, I wonder if they maybe could combine the two services. PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now combined together would make for a formidable subscription service if the price is right. Moving on though, Team Ninja had a rather exciting update. Team Ninja, of course, is the studio behind games such as Ninja Gaiden and Nioh. So this is a top-tier studio that really knows how to make games with fun hack-and-slash combat. They excel when it comes to that type of gameplay, and 2021 is going to be a good year for fans of this studio. They did reveal they're planning on releasing several new titles this year. They didn't really say much else, but I do wonder if it's finally time to bring Ninja Gaiden back. There has been multiple retail listings of a Ninja Gaiden collection releasing for the Switch and PlayStation. I think that's absolutely going to happen at some point, and that could be the perfect way to start ramping up excitement for a brand new Ninja Gaiden game. In fact, just last year in February, Fumihiko Yasuda said that the core members of the team wants to work on a new Ninja Gaiden. I mean, if they want to work on a new Ninja Gaiden, there's a very real possibility that that will happen rather soon. Now, the thing about that particular quote, though, is that he mentioned that just last year, and I can't really imagine they created a game of that size in 1 year's time. Now, maybe they've been working on it for longer than 1 year, and he was just kind of teasing it, but that's all speculation by this point. They could also do a 2D Ninja Gaiden, and then a bigger one later on. Again though, all we know is that they have several releases prepared for 2021. We do know that they're planning to release the Nioh Remastered Collection in February, and then the Ninja Gaiden Collection is rumored as well, so maybe that's all he's referring to. I guess we'll see, but fingers crossed for a new Ninja Gaiden game. I would absolutely love that. Now, speaking of Japanese games, probably the most anticipated early 2021 game in Japan is Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter, of course, is ridiculously huge in Japan, and as we saw last generation with Monster Hunter World, it's grown pretty much worldwide. I mean, after all, it's already sold over 18 million copies, and it's still selling to this day. So Monster Hunter Rise is going to be a very big release for the Nintendo Switch. I keep saying it, but the Nintendo Switch might have its best year yet, and that's saying a lot considering how well that thing has done so far. Anyways though, for you Monster Hunter fans, there will be a Monster Hunter Rise event this week on January 7th. They're not exactly saying what all they're showing here, but one thing about Nintendo exclusives is that they usually do have events like this to show off a game's mechanics and features. That's what I think they'll probably be doing with this event. It'll more than likely be a deep dive into the mechanics and features of Monster Hunter Rise, and I really do like that. I wish more companies would do this type of thing before they release a game. A lot of the times we just get cinematic trailers, so I always like when companies decide to do big deep dives into the game itself. If something interesting happens here though, I'll of course keep you updated, but if you're excited for Monster Hunter Rise, you might want to tune in to get all of the latest on that game. Let's talk about Xbox though, because Xbox Game Pass just revealed their January lineup, and this is always a very fun time of the month. This means more games will hit your backlog, and yeah, let's just take a look. So in the first half of January, PES 2021, The Little Acre, Torchlight 3, Injustice 2, Neoverse, What Remains of Edith Finch, and Y2K are coming to Xbox Game Pass. Now when you first see this lineup, it's not nearly as good as some of Xbox Game Pass's previous months, until you realize this is only the first half of January. The second half is where it starts to get much better, which I'll get into in just a second. Sticking with the first half for a moment though, there are some good games here. Injustice 2 is a fun fighting game made by the Mortal Kombat studio NetherRealm. I mean, if you like Mortal Kombat, you're gonna love Injustice 2, which has similar mechanics but in the DC universe instead. That's a nice Game Pass inclusion, and so is Torchlight 3 and What Remains of Edith Finch. Now, I haven't played Torchlight 3 yet, but the first two games were really good action RPGs. I have heard some very mixed feelings about the third one, though maybe they fixed some of its problems since it originally released. I suppose I'll find out soon, but that's the cool thing about Xbox Game Pass. I get to try games out like this myself without spending any extra money. As I said though, it's the second half of January that's so exciting. Now, we don't know every game that's releasing in the second half of January, but the ones we do know about looks absolutely incredible. You have Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 releasing on January 28th, which if you haven't played this franchise, and if you like story-driven games, please do yourself a favor and check these games out. I firmly believe these are among the best story-driven games made in the entire game industry, and by the end of this month, 6 different Yakuza games will be available in Xbox Game Pass. These games really are that good, and I do highly encourage you to try them out yourself. Also, you have some indie releases including a day one launch title, Killer Queen Black, and Cyber Shadow, which looks amazing on its own. We talked about Ninja Gaiden earlier, and Cyber Shadow looks very much inspired by some of the old school Ninja Gaiden games. I haven't heard many people really talk about Cyber Shadow as of yet, but I think it's going to surprise a lot of people when it does release. Hopefully Xbox Game Pass gives it the recognition it deserves, but it's also coming to the Nintendo Switch, and indies seem to perform really well on the Switch. So one way or the other, if Cyber Shadow plays as good as it looks, I think it's going to be a surprise hit. The big day one Xbox Game Pass title though is The Medium. This is an upcoming Xbox Series console exclusive releasing into Xbox Game Pass day one, and I am absolutely thrilled about this game. I was talking to my friend about this before the launch of the Xbox Series, and I kept telling him, for some reason, this was the game that I was most excited to play on the Xbox Series X. Unfortunately, it got delayed because Cyberpunk 2077 released on its previous planned launch, but it's now officially set for January 28th, which is both good and bad. Yeah, as I noted before, Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 are also releasing on January 28th, so it's going to be a busy day for Xbox Game Pass. Now, they did reveal a brand new 14-minute gameplay trailer of The Medium today, and I was hyped before, but now I cannot wait to play this game. It looks really good. It reminds me a lot of the old school Resident Evil games with that fixed camera angle, but with a more paranormal setting. You play in 2 different dimensions simultaneously. They were showing some of its puzzles today, and it looks extremely creative. Even the story sounds interesting. I'm going to go out on the limb here, but this has potential of being my favorite horror game outside of Resident Evil. It's hitting all of the right notes early on, so I'm hoping it's as good as I think it'll be. I guess we don't have to wait too long to play it ourselves, but yeah, Xbox Game Pass is starting off strong in 2021. I know the first half of January isn't amazing, but the second half is extraordinary. On to the Nintendo news though, because they surprisingly made a big acquisition today. I wasn't expecting this, but Nintendo acquired Next Level Games. If you don't know who they are, here's some games they've worked on in the past: Super Mario Strikers, Punch-Out 2009, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, and the big one, Luigi's Mansion 3. So right away you probably noticed they've worked with Nintendo a lot in the past, and they're also incredibly talented, and we clearly saw that firsthand with Luigi's Mansion 3. It's went on to sell more than 8 million units worldwide, and to this day, it's arguably the best looking Nintendo Switch game to date. Luigi's Mansion 3 really put them on the map to the point I think other publishers might have been looking to buy them out as well. From what I've been hearing, they were considering selling the studio with all of their recent success. Nintendo luckily grabbed them up before somebody else did though, which is the best possible outcome we could get. They're now going to be an internal Nintendo team where they can focus on making high quality games. Nintendo is known for making high quality games, so this should benefit Next Level Games, strengthen Nintendo's internal teams, and Next Level Games can work within an abundance of Nintendo related IP. And that's something we need to recognize right away. Next Level Games is not just a Luigi's Mansion studio. They've worked on a wide variety of games and genres, and they've worked on 4 different Nintendo franchises already. Luigi's Mansion obviously, but also Punch-Out!, Mario Strikers, and they were also the developer behind Metroid Prime Federation Force for the 3DS. Yeah, that's not exactly the most praised Metroid game, but once again it shows how far their talent extends. It'll be interesting to see what other Nintendo IP they could work on as well. And maybe we could see a Luigi's Mansion 4 considering its success, and also bring back some other dormant Nintendo franchises. I keep talking about this on the channel, but I wouldn't mind seeing a return of Kid Icarus. Now, I'm not saying that Next Level Games should develop it, but come on Nintendo, let's bring back Kid Icarus. Here's the thing though, I would actually like to see Nintendo acquire some other studios they've been working with. Alpha Dream is one that always immediately stands out to me. They're the studio behind the Mario & Luigi RPG franchise, and they filed bankruptcy back in 2019. I would have liked to have seen Nintendo step in there and have picked them up before that happened, but I guess financially that didn't make a ton of sense. Still, they were a high-quality studio, and I think Nintendo would have benefited from that. With that said, Next Level Games is a big acquisition, and congrats to Nintendo, Next Level Games, and most importantly, gamers. I think gamers should be very happy about this acquisition, as again, it looks like somebody else would have got them if not for Nintendo stepping in. On to our last bit of news though, and this is also Nintendo related. So it's now being reported that a large portion of Nintendo DSiWare games are being delisted from the Nintendo eShop. In fact, it looks like more than 250 games have been delisted, including Shantae Risky's Revenge, Dr. Mario Express, and Mr. Driller, which means you can no longer buy these games on your Nintendo DS or 3DS. That is such a shame for multiple reasons. One, Nintendo didn't even bother giving fans a heads up. I'm sure a lot of people would have went and bought several of these games before being delisted if Nintendo would have let them know ahead of time. That's baffling that they didn't, but I'm kind of hoping this is just some kind of mistake. We haven't heard from Nintendo yet, so maybe it's a mistake and they'll get it fixed up. Right now, it's only affecting North America. What I will say though for the rest of the world, in case this isn't a mistake, you might want to go pick up some DSiWare games before they get delisted in other countries as well. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.